Welcome, wrestling fans, and of course, wrestling hollow fans. I am the King D. This is your first installment of the Powerful 8 for 2013. And of course, being 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, your Powerful 8 will be your top 8 WrestleMania moments of all time. And coming up right now is going to be my top 8. Welcome back, guys. Like I said, this is the first Powerful 8 of 2013, and I'm going to go through my top 8. Coming in at number 8 was The Undertaker's first match with the one, the only, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. It was a pretty good match. You could tell it was the Undertaker's first WrestleMania match because it wasn't that long. And Undertaker pretty much dealt with Superfly pretty well. Superfly, though, a little bit older, still in his prime, though. He had the extreme physique and he was ready to go. But Undertaker was able to beat him to set the stage for what he would go on and continue to do in WrestleMania history. Number 7 is that classic Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Championship. And it was when all the McMahons were feuding with each other. You had Linda McMahon, who had Mick Foley. You had Stephanie McMahon with Triple H. The Rock was with Vince McMahon. And then, of course, Shane McMahon with The Big Show. It was, for me, a pretty nice match. I mean, yeah, you had that whole WrestleMania based around the McMahons, but, at the end of the night, it was a pretty entertaining match, and it was exactly the way it should have been, and it was just a good match. A lot of people hate that match, but I thought it was a good match. My number 6 would be Y2J, Chris Jericho taking on Shawn Michaels. When I first saw this match, when Shawn Michaels came down to the ring and Chris Jericho came down to the ring, I was like, okay, this might be a 15-minute, match where Jericho gets a couple good spots in there, gets a few good moves on Shawn Michaels, but Shawn Michaels wins. Well, this match ended up being a very intense match, and it just proved to me that Chris Jericho isn't as overrated as I thought. And that was the first time in WrestleMania history that I started actually getting respect for Chris Jericho. Number 5. My number 5 favorite wrestling moment of all time. This would probably have to be The Rock versus Stone Cold in the third match. The third time The Rock faced Stone Cold. The lead up to the match was awesome. You had Austin delivering the rock bottom to The Rock. You had The Rock putting on the vest and delivering a Stone Cold Stunner to Austin. It was great. It was a phenomenal match. And when it was all said and done, yeah, The Rock won. But at the end of that match, the respect between both competitors, between the competitors and the crowd to the competitors, it was just an iconic moment, but not my top moment of all time. Number 4. My 4th favorite moment of all time for WrestleMania, well, it's gotta be the Triple H versus The Undertaker. Last year's WrestleMania. That match was just absolutely fantastic. Everyone in the apartment that I was watching it with was unglued. Triple H did a great job. Shawn Michaels did a great job. And that moment where Shawn Michaels hit that sweet chin music, I thought it was over. I thought the streak was done. It was the first time when you look at all 4 matches between whether it's Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, or Undertaker, Triple H, out of all 4 matches, that was the one time I really, really thought Undertaker was done. My number 3, the third top moment for me. You guys are gonna think this is ridiculous, but my third favorite moment of all time was when Yokozuna won the WWE Championship. Now, people say Yokozuna was a heel and all this stuff, and nobody liked Yokozuna, but the match itself between Bret Hart and Yokozuna was fantastic. Now, Hulk Hogan coming out and hogging the spotlight and winning the belt, that really pissed me off. But Yokozuna, that one night, proved that he was able to hang with the big boys in a major match. And it was just one of those huge matches that is just so timeless. Number 2. I can't believe we're already down to number 2. Now, a lot of you guys in the Hall of Fans community, you're probably gonna bash me for this, but my second favorite all-time match would actually be John Cena versus Triple H. Now, I know what you guys are saying. John Cena's horrible. That match, to me, was a great match because it proved how flawed John Cena's gimmick is. I mean, you had Triple H. He came out in, the Conan the Barbarian, entrance, and then you had John Cena coming out, as some punk kid, with the old school gangsters and the Tommy guns and all that. I just thought it was just ridiculous. But the match itself, like I said, I'm basing most of these off of the matches themselves. The match itself was absolutely phenomenal. Triple H worked hard. I mean, that was a great match. And when Triple H tapped, he sold it very well. Especially when John Cena hadn't been using the STF very often. And Triple H just fell to yet another submission. My number 1 moment of all time. This is very definitive for me. This is a match that got me into sticking to being a fan of wrestling, because although I watched wrestling for many, many years, and it began when I was really, really young, it wasn't I know when it comes on, I'm obsessed, I must have it. It wasn't that way until I watched Edge. Now, Edge is my first ever wrestler that I got to see compete, whether it was on TV or not. He was the first wrestler I ever watched wrestle a match, and I'm talking about a full match. I mean, when I was little, WCW or WWF was on the TV, and I'd be watching it, blah blah blah. But the first match that I seriously sat down and watched and paid attention to was it was actually a Velocity match, or yeah, Velocity. I think it was way back. Edge was really young. He came out through the crowds, if you guys remember, and he did great. And I said, this guy's gonna be huge, because from what I knew about wrestling at the time, I did not see anybody with his kind of unique ring presence. I mean, coming through the crowd was huge. I know ECW was doing it a lot, but just the way he did it, with the lights and making everything seem him. And a lot of people don't know that the way Edge slid into the ring, that actually had a lot to do with his original ring entrance, because when he hopped the barricade, there was usually, if I remember right, there was usually not steps right there, the side that he hopped from. So he would slide into the ring instead of walking up the steps. And he kept that in his entrance. His entrance changed a number of times throughout the years, but that was the one thing that he kept in his entrance. And I personally, as a fan, believe he kept that for his loyal fans, because only his loyal fans would know the true meaning of why he slid into the ring instead of entering it in any other way. Which is one of the reasons why there's a big separation between superstars today, superstars back then, is because superstars back then, there were reasons for the things that they did, and that was the big reason to me. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but that was really memorable about me. But getting back to the number one match of all time would be Edge and Christian versus the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys. That's right. The first ever triangle ladder match at WrestleMania. And I believe it was WrestleMania 2000. I haven't written anything down. This is all straight from my head. This is all straight from my soul. I don't like pre-writing things down because I want to give you guys my true and honest opinion on things. So I believe it was WrestleMania 2000. And nobody wanted Edge and Christian to win. I was a big Edge fan, as it was, seeing how he was the first wrestler I ever watched and ever got really into, and seeing as Edge and Christian was getting a big push at the time. WWF hardcore fans, they wanted the Hardy Boys, the ECW faithfuls, they wanted the Dudley Boys on the top. But when it was all said and done, when Edge and Christian, they sat on that homemade scaffold that the Dudley Boys built with the titles in their hands, it was an iconic moment. It was one of those, moments that probably any superstar works towards. I mean, the fans were unglued. I mean, I'm sure the superstars in the back watching this were unglued. And just the simple fact that match really set the stage for tag team wrestling, especially the ladder matches. It just proves that Edge, Christian, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray, and Devon, they are some of the most talented wrestlers. I mean, in the last 15 years, they've all done their own thing. Some of them done better than others, but those 6 individuals, their names were set in concrete that night, and they were destined from that night on to be really great performers. However you want to put it, they were destined for greatness. That is my top 8, and you guys know the deal. I want you to comment your top 8 down below in the description box, and be sure to like, comment, and please subscribe. Also, I happen to know that Jimmy Farley's birthday today, so happy birthday, man. I mean, you started this group page a good couple years ago. I've been on the group page for a good, oh Lord, how long has it been? A couple years. So it's had to have been a couple years. So the Wrestling Hall of Fans movement continues. We will not stop. We will not stop educating. We will not stop until Wrestling Hall of Fans is the premier group on Facebook. Be sure to check that out. You just go straight to Facebook, type in Wrestling Hall of Fans up in the search box. It'll pop up. Request to join. They'll get you in there. One other thing before I cut this off and let you guys go, I will be doing a lot more of these Powerful 8 videos. My next couple more are gonna be WrestleMania oriented. It's just that time of year, guys. So today's, just in case you missed it, just in case you fell asleep during this video, today's is your top 8 most memorable or favorite WrestleMania moments of all time, whether it be Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 body slamming Andre the Giant, or The Rock taking on Hulk Hogan, or it could also be a really old school match like the Road Warriors match, or whatever it is. Be sure to put those down below. I am the King B. You know what I'm about. Also, check out some of my other videos. I do video game videos and all kinds of other stuff on my YouTube channel. Check that out. Subscribe to it. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I probably am. Alright, guys. Take it easy. I'm out. Peace.